Everyday organizations spend enormous resources recruiting new talent, deploying new technology, and purchasing new tools. They are desperate for more capacity. They're desperate for more throughput. But what they don't know is they're systematically ignoring the single largest untapped productivity reserve in their business. The productivity you're desperately trying to hire, buy, or automate is likely already sitting in your building. It's waiting for you to stop suppressing it. I call this the latent productivity. It is the measurable gap between what your existing workforce is currently producing and what they're capable of producing in an optimized system. The productivity gap in your organization is not a talent shortage. It's a systems problem. And it's entirely self-inflicted. To understand latent productivity, we have to look at the math of human systems. Eli Goldratt proved in the theory of constraints that the output of any system is determined entirely by its bottleneck. If you improve a non-bottleneck, you get zero increase in system output. If you improve the bottleneck, the entire system speeds up. So what happens when we look at the bottleneck in a modern knowledge work organization? There's a famous case study in the DevOps world. It's the HP LaserJet firmjet division. When they began their transformation, they analyzed their engineers, the bottleneck of their entire division, and they found that those engineers were spending only 5% of their total available time delivering new features. Now, that wasn't their choice, but the other 95% was consumed by waiting for approvals, waiting for handoffs, waiting for decisions that should have been made at the team level, manual testing, firefighting, working on stuff that they should have never been assigned. 5% value add time. What is your team's number? If you audit the people who are the constraint in your organization, how much of their week is actually spent doing the work you hired them to do? HP systematically offloaded the non-value add work from their engineers, and they automated the testing. They protected the engineers' time. They increased the time spent on new features from 5% to 40%. That is an 8 times increase in productivity, an 800% improvement in the throughput, with no hiring, no major purchases. They simply stopped starving the bottleneck. How do organizations starve their bottlenecks? They do it through 3 systemic suppressors. The first is the visibility vacuum. When leaders cannot see the work in progress, they get anxious. When they get anxious, they demand status updates. They call meetings. They interrupt the flow of work to ask, where are we on this? The tool they bought to save money didn't have a dashboard, so they became the dashboard. They created a visibility vacuum, which triggered micromanagement, which turned their best people into zombies. The second is the approval bottleneck. This is when decisions that should have been made by the people doing the work are escalated to people who don't have the context. I've seen organizations where a $500 software expense requires 3 levels of VP approval, delaying a critical project by weeks. The cost of the delay is 10 times the cost of the software. The third is the collaboration tax. This is the hidden cost of siloed teams. When teams don't talk to each other, they duplicate work. They miss handoffs. They create rework. The collaboration tax is the friction that grinds the system to a halt. So how do we release this latent productivity? A, we stop trying to optimize the people and we start optimizing the system around them. Before you approve the next hiring requisition, before you buy the next enterprise software platform, you must conduct a bottleneck audit of your existing human system. You identify the constraint, you measure exactly how much of their time is spent on value add work, And then you ruthlessly eliminate the visibility vacuums, the approval bottlenecks, and the collaboration taxes that are consuming the rest of their week. When you properly balance a system and protect the bottleneck, doubling productivity is not a miracle, it's just math. If you move your bottleneck from 20% value add time to 40% value add time, you've doubled the throughput of your entire organization. The capacity is there, the talent is there, the potential is there. The only question is whether your system is releasing it or suppressing it. Thank you.